So basically, actualizing your curse technique, curse energy, domain expansion is like realizing who you are as a person. Exactly. That's actually exactly what it is as a whole. If you'll notice, a lot of the strongest sorcerers in the entire verse are characters that have the most eccentric or most domineering personalities. Like, think about it, even a small example such as like Toto with the "what kind of girls do you like?" and how he's just overwhelmingly crazy over his friends like Itadori, or how he is just such this crazy influence. He just says these crazy things. Like, even when they're about to play baseball and he goes on this long tangent about youth and being young and how they can't lose the stride, and Gojo's like, bro, how old are you again? Or like when he shows up to Yuji during Mahito and he has the whole, like, you know, the haiku about how we, you know, will always prosper. Like, Toto is unapologetically himself. And like, if you don't like Toto, that's your fucking problem, not his, right? That's really what I've noticed. And that all stems from his mentor, Yuki Tsukumo, who, no offense, is the exact same way. Yuki is, again, a person that is unafraid to be herself. She walks around not with a chip on her shoulder, but proud. She imparts her personality on everyone that she talks to. And she doesn't do personality matching. She doesn't hide herself to, you know, better, you know, fit in. She is just this crazy, badass fucker who does what she wants when she wants it. Jujutsu High can't even control her. And if you'll notice, a lot of the special grades specifically all have this trait as well, where they can't be controlled. Gojo Satoru can't be controlled. Not, I mean, one, because of his overwhelming power in the sense that he could literally destroy the entire world if he wanted to, but in another sense that Gojo feels so strongly in his beliefs and who he is as a person and what he feels is right and wrong, that the Jujutsu higher-ups have no control over that. They have no dominance over Gojo as a person, because Gojo immediately rejects everything that they have to talk about. Everything that the higher-ups believe in, you know, the conservatism of curse techniques. We even hear Panda talk about it with how they don't like Hikari's curse technique because it's very modern. And it's also very interesting because there are a lot of higher-ups and a lot of people in the higher Jujutsu society that also have very modern curse techniques and probably experienced a little bit of criticism in their early days. Not to get off topic, but you'll notice it even in the small portion of the Maki versus the Zedin clan arc, when Ogi, Maki's father, is talking about how he got passed over for clan head. He was very annoyed because not only did he have the more traditional curse technique that had a lot more clout behind it and had a lot more history that proved its power, he was the rightful heir. But because he had the two shitty children that had low cursed energy, they were like, I mean, I guess we'll make Naobito the head. Because if you think about it, that's a key aspect to Naobito having the projection sorcery, the 24 frames per second, and having a curse technique completely tied into animation. That is not a conservative curse technique. That is not an old school voodoo curse technique by any means whatsoever. It's something that developed with society. The Jujutsu higher-ups hate that. Even someone like Gaku Kanji, who in retrospect, it's very interesting that he is the one higher up that remains, the one higher up that keeps Yaga's secret about him being a special grade and him being able to create life with the triple soul core thing, and the higher up that Gojo leaves alive to help the generation he leaves behind move on to, you know, push society forward. Gaku Kanji has the guitar amplifier curse technique, right? That definitely is not traditional. That definitely is not modern. So it's interesting. And like, it's interesting how that person, you know, probably experienced a bunch of prejudice when they were going through Jujutsu Society for their curse technique. But notice how these people, as soon as they get older and they become higher ups, they immediately do the same kind of derogatory, you know, nonsense that they had done to them, to the younger people below them. Although I think Gaku Kanji, again, is a very special case because, again, he's clearly different than the higher-ups. While he knows what needs to be right, or he is able to stick to the tradition, he also has a conscience and he also has the ability to question that tradition, even though if he feels that should always take precedence. Which, again, you'll realize that that is why someone like Gaku Kanji is not a special grade. Because when given all of these reasons to be yourself and be proud and be proud of his curse technique. He was not. He was not proud of his curse technique, and he restricted his personality in order to conform to Jujutsu society. All of these special grades, and Sukuna is the biggest representation of this, and especially he proves it in the last flashback that he had with Kashimo. And again, saying what I said about Todo in the beginning, where I am who I am. I'm going to do whatever I want, eat whatever I want, sleep whenever I want, kill whenever I want. And if anyone has a single problem with that, I'll just fucking kill them. Because I am who I am and the world is mine to do with as I please. And having that kind of mindset is the reason why Sukuna is able to break boundaries and shatter these limits and become this all-powerful king of curses that no one has been able to surpass in thousands of years. Not even Gojo Satoru, the honored one, the person that shifted the balance of the world when being born, was able to equate to the same power level as the king of curses. Now, I know that's a controversial statement, and I know a lot of people have a bunch of different things to say on that fact. But one thing that I want to tell you for sure specifically is this: being able to understand who you are and being enough self-aware to understand your needs, your wants, what your goals, and what will make you happy is a whole level. You know, that's already hard to do. But being able to then say, the way that I view the world and the person that I am is righteous. The way that I am is the way. The way that I believe is the way. And I will never take another person's opinion. I will never, maybe take another person's advice, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you can never fucking ask a question in your life. You know, the people that just never ask questions and do what they want through their lives are just the strongest people in the world. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But being unapologetically yourself and realizing yourself and being true to oneself is the best path to being a strong sorcerer, which also harkens back to what Sukuna was saying to Jogo in Jogo's death. He goes, you are very strong. You could have been stronger if you just burned everything in your path and made everything yours. Instead, Jogo chose to have friends, have family. Jogo chose to want to follow this dream, this foolish pipe dream of being humans. All these things that Sukuna even deems as nonsense. He goes, Jogo, you had the potential. You had the ability to be a powerful calamity. Although, unfortunately, you had a lot of these things that held you down. You should have just fucking been on your own, burned it all to ashes. Now, again, I'm not saying that having family and having friends and having people that you confide in and having people to protect is a bad thing as well, because clearly Jujutsu High, having something to protect, having things to defend, even Itadori Yuji is the perfect example of being a cog. When he's fighting Choso, he stops. Instead of freaking out when he gets his liver pierced, he stands his ground and goes, it's okay. I've got friends that can carry on my goal after I die. Which ultimately I think is going to be the main theme of the story at the end of all of this. Which is going to be, you can do your best to try and accomplish everything yourself, right? You can always do what you want. No matter how strong, how powerful, how sure of yourself and your beliefs that you are, you will die. No one lives forever. No one is immortal. No one can reign in their dominance and control the world completely forever. No one can do that. However, many people have tried. Tengen has tried with the Star Plasma Vessel. Kenjaku has tried with the brain manipulating curse technique. Sukuna and all of the Culling game players have tried to cheat death time and time again, instead of just passing on and leaving things on to the next light. Even Angel says it's against God's code, which I'm not sure if there is a God in Jujutsu Kaisen, but she says it's wrong. It goes against nature. The right way to live is to live your life to the fullest while you have time. Do everything you can, but never forget that if you really want your goals to succeed and if you really want to see your dreams come to fruition, you may not always be the one to do this. You have to be willing to pass the torch on. You have to be willing to pass those dreams on to the next generation and make sure that generation is more prepared than you ever were with everything that you learned to carry on your will and achieve what you never could. Everyone has a time limit. Everyone has a lifespan. You can't beat that. No matter how much all of these and these disgusting freaks try to in Jujutsu society, you can't. See what it turns you into. See the monsters that these are from living this long and having the freedom to do as they please for this long. As Angel says, it is unnatural. So despite being realizing of yourself and knowing who you are as a person, it's also being willing to understand that there are people that will always come after you, and making sure that those people that come after you take all of the knowledge that you can give them so they can achieve what you never could. And that was Gojo Satoru's method. That was his MO, and I think that is going to be the main theme of Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole, is passing the torch on to the next generation, doing the best that you can in your current life, but when it's your time, you pass it on with no regrets, which is what Gojo did. Gojo died without regrets because he did everything he could to set up his new generation of all of his students for the world to come, and he has faith in them. And honestly, now that I'm saying that, the disaster curses honestly all achieved that as well, which might be why Jogo, Hanami, and Dagon all also got the cursed realm happiness and no regret death, right? Because at the end, what happened? Despite them all dying, they all had the same idea that they do what they can in their current life, and they all meet in the wastelands 100 years from now as new curses who may not even remember who they are. But knowing that they left it all up to Mahito, knowing that they left it all up to the generation that came after them to achieve their goal. Now, of course, Mahito fails, but why does Mahito fail? Because Kenjaku, an anomaly, an abomination, which I always say in all of my videos, if you noticed about Kenjaku, that he is not supposed to be there. He is an abomination. He is an anomaly of nature that should not be interfering with the timeline of today. Ultimately, it all stems to the same theme, right? Recognize who you are. Don't be unapologetically yourself. Don't ever apologize for being yourself, and you will become a strong individual. You'll become a strong person who can make their way in the world, and the world will bend. Reality will bend to your whim. But always remember that life is fleeting and you cannot live forever. You have to, at the same time, understand that there will be a generation after you that will carry on your torch. And if you spend your life trying to deny that, you won't accomplish shit. But if you spend your life understanding this and setting up for that end, you will have a happy end, and all of your wildest dreams will come true in the afterlife. I don't know. But that was a little segment there. I kind of got into a huge rant about self-actualization. But like, if you think about it, that's why people like Yorozu were so strong. Yorozu was psychotic. Yorozu was crazy. You know what I mean? Going around doing all this nonsense. Like, I'll destroy, we'll burn 3 villages for the marriage and for the wedding. Like, we will take on everything and destroy everything. Yorozu was such a cool character. And that's why everyone was like, oh, I don't like how she's so Sukuna, you know, obsessed. It's like, dude, she's Sukuna obsessed because she's not afraid to be who she is. She's not afraid to be this crazy motherfucker who's out there in these streets killing people just because she loves Sukuna. You know what I mean? Like, she grew up in the Heian era, the golden age of sorcerers. Of course she'd be out of left field, out of pocket. It all translates. And that's why she was so strong as well. You know, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. Ultimately, personally, I could be wrong. I'm not in Gege's head, but I really feel like that will ultimately be the theme of the story at the end of everything, being willing to pass on to the next generation. I don't know how that will coincide with my Yuji lives forever and is trapped to live forever, but we will see, because I sincerely want the epilogue of Jujutsu Kaisen to be Mahito's alter ego, like the curse of humanity becoming reborn, and like he's like, oh, just gain sentience, and then it's like, hello, and then you just see the text box in the corner, hello Mahito, and then it's the curse is like, and it's just Yuji sitting there waiting for him to be born, and he goes, I told you I'd be waiting for you, right? And then it's just Jujutsu Kaisen end. Tell me that wouldn't be the hardest ending to Jujutsu Kaisen ever if Yuji has to live forever and he really becomes this Tengen-like entity. That would be so cool. I'm sorry, that's just me.